Healing cabbage soup. I've been trying to get to this recipe for some time. The healing cabbage soup I got from All Recipe. Tweaked it to the way we like it. So, most important thing is we're doubling this. Oh, this is starting to come out perfect. So what you normally do is you get, where is it here? There it is, a half a head of board and shredded. Well, we got a whole head here. This is really important here if you really want to make this soup good. Season your cabbage now. After you cut it up, season it. So we use our SPGO, salt, pepper, garlic, onion. So put some salt in here, put some pepper in here. If you don't have a mixture like this, put a little garlic granules and little onion granules in there. What you want to do is you want to see it, you can start seeing it releasing its flavor, its juices, its waters. Let this sit while you get everything else ready. This brings out the flavor of this cabbage so much for this soup. It calls for an onion, a half an onion. So I had 2 small onions, so I diced those up. And then just a lot of stuff here. It's gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasonings that I add to it. Stewed tomatoes. And then we're gonna get the butter, the garlic, the water, and everything else. So let's put this all in the pot. Let's get this cooking. All right, the recipe calls for oil, but I like butter, everybody. So 1 batch is 4. You get it nice and melted and bubbly. So I go with 4 with 1 recipe. Since we're doubling it, I put 8 in it. Now it calls for a half an onion, but I had 2 small onions. Tap it in there over medium heat. You want to get these onions cooked up with the garlic. So you know how I cheat, everybody, minced garlic. So I'm going to put 2 really nice scoops in there with the juice. That's 2 tablespoons, everybody. Let me get this off to the side now and then start mixing this up. What you want to do with this, everybody, you want to get this until it starts releasing its flavor, okay? And the onions are starting to get transparent. And this is going to be about 2 to 3 minutes. You know, if you have it a little bit warmer, maybe about 5 minutes. And this is just how simple this is. We're just going to cook this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to season these up too. This is where you put a little salt, pepper, garlic. This is where I changed it. You know, I'm putting in my salt, pepper, garlic, onion. And I know there's garlic in there and onion, but this is going to give that. You can start smelling it, releasing. And just get this all nice up the way you want it. And then we'll get back to adding this. This is almost done. This butter is looking really good, releasing all the flavor. Now my secret, and I changed this big time, it's better than a bouillon chicken broth. What I did, it calls for 2 quarts, and I'm doing double, so 4 quarts. So I already have that made up. Once this is done, you want to put in your broth. Now, I already mixed this up. This is only 3. Okay. You want to bring this to a boil, everybody. So I had a little bit left in here. And what I did is I made enough for like 3 quarts. You don't want to overdo this because this is very strong. So I'm getting the last of that out of there. See, there's still some in there, but that's good enough for me. I need 1 more quart of water to go in there. So I have my son here, so put it on hot. No, put it on hot. Hot, hot, hot. Okay, he's not very smart, everybody. Left is hot, right is cold. There's little nicks on those. Make sure you get up to 1 quart for me, please. You see him?
Yeah.
Okay, he sees it. Now we want to bring this to a boil, so get it up on high. Give it a good mix. And this is where I change a little bit too while I'm getting this, where I add my additional seasoning. So I am going with a tablespoon of basil because I want this stuff to start releasing into the broth. So I do a half, but since this is double, I'm doing a tablespoon. And then I'm going to be doing oregano. And I'll ask my son, because I had to get a brand new one, to open that up for me. Italian seasoning. Okay.
Oregano.
The oregano. And this is usually a half a, but since I doubled it, that's 1 quart, Kevin? That looks like 3 quarts. Then we use a half a teaspoon of cilantro, thyme, and dill. But this is going to be 1 now because it's doubled. So there we go, 1. Because this way with the dried out spices, we want them to start absorbing and start releasing. That's the cilantro. Is that 1 quart?
Yeah.
Okay, can you please bring that here? Because I need to put that back in here. The dill. Thank you. Now, that's 4 quarts. That's what we wanted. Okay, and I put in some parsley because I'm just a lover of parsley. Boom. Now I have all my seasoning in there. I have everything. Can you please put a little hot water in there? And now I'm going to give it a mix. Now I got to bring this to a boil, everybody. And she's almost there. We got that on high. And what I'm going to do is, since I have more of the bouillon here that I had in the corner, everybody, I just put a little bit more water in there to break that up to get that flavor in there. Now the seasoning's going to be floating, but with time that will release and start mixing all the way in. This is why I want it to get in here, start cooking up, start releasing those flavors into that broth. So we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to throw in the cabbage, and we're going to simmer until cabbage is wilted, about 10 minutes. Okay? So let's get this to a boil, and then we'll get to the cabbage. All right, we got that to a boil right now. You can see the oils releasing from the herbs on top. You can see the butter. Now we stir in our cabbage. So that's a half a head of cabbage, but since I'm doubling this, that is going to be 1 full head of cabbage, everybody. So let's get this in and mixed up. Oh yeah, and remember, with this seasoning of the cabbage, that's just going to bring out that flavor. So right now, that cabbage started releasing some of its juice, its oils, the flavor starting to come out, and we want to simmer this now. Bring it down about a medium for about 10 minutes until the cabbage starts wilting. And that's about 10 minutes. So let's get this stir off in, just to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan, you know, because I am using my pot right here. And then what we're going to do is, you could see this now, the herbs are starting to sink, starting to cling on to that cabbage. The aromas. Now remember, these are the herbs that I put on. You don't have to follow it. If you don't like oregano, don't put it in. If you do not like cilantro at times, don't put it in. Maybe just put your parsley and your Italian seasoning, or maybe just a little dill, or just salt and pepper. But this is how we like it because I think it gives it so much more flavor. It binds in with that cabbage, with the garlic, with the onions, and the broth is just so good. So let's get this simmering for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back, and then we have one step left, and that's the tomatoes. It's been simmering, cabbage is wilted. Now it's time to put in, they call for stewed tomatoes, and I always forget about this, and then the recipe calls to dice them up. Italian style, just get diced. We don't mind it if they're big stewed tomatoes. They say to drain it, Italian recipe, because that's got the basil, garlic, and oregano in it. So we just leave it like this. Don't break down. And what I do, everybody, is I lightly drain them. I don't totally drain them, just a light. We're gonna get this in. Then it calls to bring it back up to a boil. Okay, what I'm gonna do is, you see all that great seasoning in there? I'm gonna put a little water in each of these, swish them around, and put it in. I want that seasoning, you know. That's some good old seasoning right there. Put that in, put that in. And now they're clean, and I could throw them in the recyclable bin, just like that. And now I come over here, and I'm gonna give this a good mix. Return to a boil, okay? There we go. And you could see the tomatoes in there. It made the broth now a little reddish. So if you want more tomatoes, add another can in, you know. But it's one can for the one serving. So diced tomatoes, if you don't want a big chunk, get that. Now we're going to bring this to a boil for 10 minutes, or return to a boil, then simmer 15 to 30 minutes, stirring often, letting this all release. Where we used to have a ton of our seasoning on top, it's starting to sink. You can still see the oils from the butter and the onion and the garlic and the cabbage juice coming into it. This is going to be some darn good eating. Now let's get this going. We're going to bring it up to a boil. I got it on high. As soon as it starts boiling, it back down to simmer for 15 to 30 minutes. You're going to really, really enjoy it. This is what you call the best comfort soup right here. One of the best. If you love cabbage, gotta try this. Okay, the soup's all done. Oh, ooh, that smells so good. Let's go like this. Let's give it a stir. Let's see if we can get it this way, or if I have to put it in a bowl, but can you? Yeah, no, not really, but that's nice and hot. Let's just spoon it up, and then I could show you what it looks like. Okay, so we're gonna get like that, and some juice, and some, okay, there we go. So right there, everybody, can you see that? Look how gorgeous that is. That is just an awesome, awesome healing soup. It's got a light tinge to it. You can see the oils. Well, we're gonna let this cool down for a second, and then we're gonna try it out. Now, it's taste test. We already got it all packaged up. We want this to get cooled down, so I'll go first, then my kid. So get a tomato, cabbage, all that in there. Let's just see. That's good eating. That's really good eating. What do you think?
Normally, I'm not a big tomato guy, but that's pretty good with the tomato.
Yep. Get that down with a diced tomato, it'd be a little better.
Maybe add a carrot next time?
Nope, just as good, just like that. That is real good eating, everybody. Healing cabbage soup. You know, done it, changed it, did our way. Diced tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, cut up your tomatoes, seasoning that you want. You know, I thought I could add a little bit more salt, so I put a little bit more salt in it. You know, I thought it was just a tad under the salt, just a sprinkle of it. So, thanks for coming into my kitchen, cooking with me. John, that's me. You know, hopefully I got nothing in my teeth, right, after tasting. But thanks for coming on in. Really appreciate it. Trying out this new recipe. We've had this several times. We got enough now for the freezer, and we got some for this week for our meal preps. Do all that great stuff. Subscribe, please. Comment. Tell me how you did it, how you tweaked it, how you changed the seasoning, how you liked it. And, you know, hit the notification, the little bell, the likes, ding, and the shares. And I really look forward to our next recipe, my fellow cooks. Thank you so kindly. Y'all have a good day, a good week. Until the next recipe. Bye, everybody.